dollars, and she's still the most famous icon in games. In a Times digital survey a number of years ago, in recognition terms, she scored higher than the Pope. So it's no longer a kids thing, games. There's something for everybody. And Lara Croft became a sort of pop culture phenomenon. She graced the covers of not just games magazines, but lifestyle magazines. She was even parodied in some of the press, and she became, don't know how that happened. And of course, many people wanted to meet the real Lara Croft. And at the very first show that we had, we went for quantity, I guess we should say. So we had 3 Lara Crofts at the very first show we had for Lara. And the girl in the middle became quite a famous, notorious lady of the UK. There, in this photo, and maybe we can ask the UK contingent who the person in the middle is. Right there, it was Jordan. Oh wow, yes, she became and now she's Katie Price again. But she was Lara Croft for 2 days. Then we had Natalie Cook, and then we had Rona Mitra for a year, because we weren't meeting people for the press. Everybody wants to meet a real Lara Croft, and Rona became a huge Hollywood success. Now, there's one thing that I think you should do when you're in the creative industries, is do what you are good at. We were very good at making games, but we decided we were going to make an album, a Tomb Raider album. Now, we don't make music, and we found that much to our expense, but we thought we could. So I remember having a great meeting with Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics, and we asked him if he could write a Tomb Raider album, and we were going to get Rona Mitra, who played Lara, as a model to sing it. And he said, okay, no problem. So they went off to South Africa to get into that whole Tomb Raider experience thing. Came back, recorded the album. We heard it, thought, not so sure about this. We do some test marketing. We did a little launch in France. Didn't do so well, so we quietly forgot about it. But I think you learn from your mistakes. And I think it's quite right that I share with you this wonderful music, and there's plenty of room here. And so if you feel compelled and want to dance, please come up and have a dance. Here is the Tomb Raider song from the album. You get the idea. So do what you're good at. We don't make records. So then we had Nell McAndrew, Jill Young, Lucy Clarkson, Jules Young, Karima Adabib, Alison Clarkson, some old guy with Lara Croft, some old guy with lots of Lara Crofts. Every time there was a new Lara Croft, we had acres of media attention, because everybody wants a piece of this virtual star. They want to meet the real Lara Croft. And it got lots of anecdotal evidence as well. David James was the goalkeeper for Liverpool in England at the time. He let in 4 terrible goals, and the reason he gave for that was he'd spend the whole night playing Tomb Raider. Prodigy, quite a famous band in the UK, were a year late delivering their album, so they spent the whole year playing Tomb Raider. And the power of the intellectual property is quite significant, because, as I said earlier, if you own the IP, there are other opportunities other than publishing what you're doing. All these companies here are famous in themselves, and yet each and every one of them wanted to use Lara Croft to promote their products to get greater revenues. And this was good for 2 reasons. 1, they gave us money. 2, they were at the same time promoting Lara Croft as they were promoting their own game. So I'm going to show you what's going on here? Show you a couple of adverts. Lucozade is a fizzy drink, soft drink back in the UK. It had a 10% year-on-year growth in sales because of the advertising campaign they used with Lara Croft. And I'm going to show you a couple of these ads. They're quite amusing now because they're from the mid-90s, so they're sort of culturally and socially relevant, but for us they're quite economically relevant. And then they used actors. And then they did a sort of hybrid.
Oh, look at that. Spartacus, Boris. What?
And then the French used Lara Croft.
Sélection.
Cordoba-Barrio. Arosa. Ibiza.
Sauvegardez maintenant.
Non.
Sûr.
Oui. Alhambra. Montez, montez. J'ai peur toute seule. C'est hâte, vous êtes loin d'avoir tout vu.
I'll show one more. Visa in certain parts of Asia. So that shows the power of the intellectual property in one aspect. And of course, she didn't go unnoticed by Hollywood. Hollywood had traditionally taken their own characters or licensed them from comic books or novels, and now they were looking at the game space. And I remember when I went to Los Angeles to negotiate the deal with Paramount Pictures, I went to with Larry Gordon Associates, the producers, and we managed to get a veto over the script and over the actors and actresses because we didn't want Hollywood taking Tomb Raider in a direction that we didn't want it to go, because she was our most important intellectual property. So when they said to us, we'd like Angelina Jolie to play the role of Lara Croft, we said, that's absolutely fine with me, no problem, you go ahead. It's fantastic, yes. And I met her a couple of times on the set at Pinewood, and I'm still recovering from that. So anyway, so I won't show you the movie now. You've probably seen the movie. Just to say that it sold $450 million at box office and $100 million in DVD and video sales. And there's been theme park rides on Tomb Raider. These look pretty scary, but they've been very popular. There's even a road in the UK called Lara Croft Way now. And there's been merchandise, because people want accessories related to the character they love so much. But of course we've been very diligent in not over-exploiting the market, just one or two very select items. We didn't want to flood the market with merchandise in any way, so just one or two bits and pieces. So the intellectual property has become a brand, in turn become a franchise, and in turn from that you get all this licensing. So again, it just shows the importance of intellectual property, that you can underpin it through law and therefore control it, and it becomes a very valuable thing to your company and builds real value in your company. So quickly, what's Lara up to now? Well, there was a digital version of Lara Croft out on Steam and PSN, Xbox Live recently, and of course there's a new game in development. This is what Lara looks like now, I guess, more